Hello and welcome to a new video. It's me, Martin, and today we're going to be looking at trial classes with Preply and what I do when I'm delivering trial classes. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the stages that I follow, what I include in my trial class, and what you could consider maybe for future trial classes. A huge thanks to Sylvia for agreeing to participate in this demo trial class. Without any further delay, let's get into it. All right, so welcome to your first class, your trial class. Now, what I've done is I've prepared a PowerPoint here. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, all right, so in this trial class, what we'll do is we'll have a look at learning a bit more about each other, the introduction to the tools for Preply and the tools that I use. We'll consider maybe course focus and test feedback. We'll have a demo lesson as well, and then options for courses, and then a chance for questions at the end. Is that all right?
Yeah, thank you. It's clear.
Okay, great. Before we start then, do you have any questions?
Not so I have, but I see there is space for more questions at the end, and of course I see the structure, so I will keep the questions for the end or during this nice structure. So I'm going to wait still.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay, well, let's get to know each other a little bit more. So I don't know you, Sylvia, and you can have a chance to ask me any questions as well during this. Um, so the first question I have here is what do you like to get up to? What do you like to get up to when you have free time?
Yeah, it's a good question. I consider myself to doing all the things I like and to having, okay, the 24 hours I consider a day, I consider them to be like a free time day. And inside this 24 hours, I do everything I love. One of the things is teaching, being with my family, with my daughters, learning new languages, improving the ones I think I know, cooking, going if I can have the opportunity to be in contact with the nature. So I consider all my time being free time. It's a little bit crazy, but yeah, it should be like the shortened version of the answer to this question.
Okay, that's really interesting. Let me just share a whiteboard. So, can you see this? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you said you're interested in languages, uh,
Yes.
cooking.
Yeah.
Um, what else are you interested
Nature,
in?
like contact the nature.
Nature. What do you mean by interested in nature?
Yes, if I just to enjoy the richness of nature in every season of the year. So, for example, go for a walk, or if I can work also in my garden, or if I can pick up mushrooms, things like this. So just enjoy the richness of nature and simplicity of it, actually.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Okay. You may be aware, you could say, I'm I'm passionate about blah blah
Mm,
blah. So I'm passionate about
yes.
languages. I'm passionate about cooking, or you know, um, uh, picking vegetables for my
Mm-hmm.
cooking, or walking and nature and that sort of thing. But yeah, okay, right. We'll return back to our PowerPoint. There we go. What is your job? What do you do?
So as I said, I teach languages, most of them as a foreign language for the students. Some of them also as a second language for people who are living in the country and need to just to improve and to communicate better. And I'm also a mother, so this is a big job. I actually studied economics in Guatemala, where I come from. And when I have the time, I also work as an economist, as a research assistant for universities. Okay. And I also have done some such a course, or it's kind of a course, education and coaching. And I apply that to my lessons, but I also have my clients, like I coach them. And I also do, this is now a little bit trendy, kind of energy therapy, or so therapies or sessions where I help people to, I don't know, connect with themselves and try to find a solution of a problem, really. So it can be health problems or just emotional things, stuff they have to overcome. So this kind of these are all my three jobs, I can say. So the teacher, this therapy thing, and the coaching part of my life.
and being a mother as well.
Yes, this is also, this is the main job.
Of course, yeah. Okay, and how long have you been studying English, and what do you find most challenging about English?
The most challenge, okay, how long? I started as everyone at school with this you, I, he, she, it is kind of lessons, yeah, where you have all these tables with the conjugations and all the verbs and tenses. Then in middle school, we had quite good teachers, so we had a lot of conversation, literature, and a lot of interaction. So I started to like the English as a foreign language lessons at school. Oh, and then it just went as everyone. So you have to improve because you start traveling, or when I started also my PhD program in the Czech Republic, so I had to have a lot of research, to do a lot of research and to travel a lot and to communicate also with students from whole Europe. So there I think I started to really use and apply the knowledge I had from school. And at the same time I started to teach English. So I didn't know I could, but everyone started to ask me, could you please help me? Could you please explain me? So they took for granted that I can teach English. So I just gave myself a chance, and I started also to help people with the English language, even if it's not my native language. And challenges, yes, because I'm from Guatemala, my teachers had this American accent and American idiomatic expressions. When I came to Europe, it was a shock to listen for the first time British English. So I didn't understand any word the first time. It was very difficult, yeah, but challenging. And but it took, I don't know, some matter of minutes or hours, then you realize that it's actually the same language, and it's not so. And then idiomatical expressions, of course. So when you are in the middle of a conversation where you find just native speakers and they start to talk about things among them, and then you don't know what they are talking about when it goes really very fast, and or I don't know, and if the topic is not part of your culture. So if you go there and everyone is talking about sports or football or politics, and then you feel really very, very strange there. Yeah, like you don't know any word. Yeah, this is challenging.
Kind of excluded, or you found
yes, how can I? Yes, and they take for granted that you are understanding. Yeah, this is more challenging. If they said, okay, Sylvia, the poor one, you don't understand, you can be there and go and play with your toys, that would be good for me, yeah, to be excluded. But they include you. Yeah, you are so nice people. Yeah, British and American people are so friendly, and they include you in this circle of nothing. Yeah, it's a bubble of What are they talking about? Yeah, so this is challenging for me.
Okay, all right. Well, obviously, we can review some common idiomatic expressions. It'd be quite interesting a bit later in this class. What for you to share what sort of things that you know, what idiomatic expressions you might know, and I'll try and introduce a few expressions to you as well. It'd be quite interesting, but
Okay.
yeah. Now, one thing I was listening to when you were talking about your background to learning English or being involved with English. So you're studying in the Czech Republic at the moment, is that right?
Yes. So
Okay.
I studied in Guatemala economics, and in the Czech
Hmm.
Republic, I did my PhD program.
Okay. You studied in the Czech Republic. You finished your PhD
Yes,
program?
I finished it already, so
Okay.
many years ago.
Okay. So we've got this expression English as a lingua franca. So it's like
Hmm.
it's the main, um, uh, uh, what could I say? It's the main method or main means to communicate between people who don't have a common language together. So for students from Europe and yourself, and they can't communicate in all the different European languages, but the common language amongst all these Europeans is English. So you could say we used English as a lingua franca to
Hmm.
communicate amongst other non-native English speakers. Um, so it is quite common around the world, not just in Europe, but if you're dealing with for a company and a client is from Thailand, then they would usually use English as a means to communicate. So it's quite common.
Hmm.
Have you heard of this phrase before? English as a lingua franca?
Yes, in Czech language, they have the same expression, this lingua franca. So
Mhm.
yes, it's a kind of passport that
Yes.
opens you the world. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks for sharing. Now, you have a chance to ask me some questions. So I've
Ah.
got to know a little bit more about you,
Mhm.
and I've got a variety of different topics here. So feel free to ask me any questions that you like based on these topics.
Mhm. Yes, yes, I will be quite interested in what have you studied, or what did you study to in order to teach English or for your job? I
Mhm.
don't know anything about your main job, if it's a language teacher or something else. Yeah, something
Sure.
like a combination between employment and studies.
Hmm. Well, for me, I studied. I was a undergraduate student many years ago, nearly 20 years ago, when I first studied at university. And I studied international business for three
Mm.
years um, in a university. It wasn't Southampton University. It was one of the smaller universities, and I was always fascinated by international business or international travel and
Mhm.
culture. And in my final year, I learnt or I studied cross cultural communication, how to communicate with different people from um, different cultures, different nations, countries, and that sort of thing. Um, and that's what really got me involved and curious about culture. And after that, I decided to spend um, a bit more time, and this is going on to my work employment. I moved to South Korea and worked in South Korea for 3 years. Um, and I was fascinated by the culture, the language, the people, and that's what I did. And then after 3 years, I returned back and I started studying a master's. I finished an MA in English language teaching, which I got involved with in Korea, and you know, nearly 16 years later, I'm still teaching
Mhm.
English.
And how come you chose South Korea?
It was more of a personal choice. Um, uh, I was more fascinated about the culture and the people, and to feed that curiosity, I decided, yeah, I'm quite happy to go over there and
Mm.
learn as much as possible about that culture.
Mm. Yeah. And you are from Southampton, or where are you from
No, I'm
originally?
from a small town in the UK near Brighton, somewhere called Eastbourne.
Okay. So, and do you go there frequently? Do you have still there somebody, some relatives, or how is the
No,
relationship with
no,
your
I don't.
hometown?
I still live in my small hometown. I returned
Ah.
back here, but I didn't go back to Southampton. It was only I was only there for a number of years to study, but that was it. But I still stay in my hometown, and I've got friends because I was brought up from this place.
Mhm. So, and did you miss your hometown when you were in South Korea? Or
No, I was well. There were certain elements I missed, um, and the culture was so different that I found it um, difficult to adjust. And the first 12 months were really, really difficult, really tough because the culture's different, the way you're in society, how society treats you is different compared to England. Um, and the pressure and the stress in work, in the workplace, can be a lot more heightened or increased compared to the UK. So I found the culture very, adjusting to the culture more difficult. But then after 12 months, I started to become more relaxed and
Mhm.
adapt, accepting that the culture's different rather than trying to change it myself.
Oh yes. So you even didn't have the time to miss your hometown with all these pressures and and new
No,
thoughts.
I was too busy to miss my hometown.
Okay. And what about your yes, perhaps the question would be like this: if you combine holidays with hobbies.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Well, my hobby. Um, Part of my hobby is music, but I don't necessarily combine my hobby and my holidays together in a way because it's difficult. But I play music. So behind me, I have a piano, which
As
I
I
don't
said.
play, but I've got a saxophone, so I play the
Mm.
saxophone instead. But to play the saxophone when I'm on holiday is a bit difficult. So I don't normally combine that. Other hobbies are photography, but that's a lot easier if I go on holiday because I can take photos and videos and that sort of thing. That's much easier. Um, but in terms of holidays, since the whole pandemic has happened and the global pandemic, movement between the UK and other nations is a bit more difficult now. So um, I've been having more of a staycation, we call it. Have you heard
Mhm.
of that word,
No, no,
staycation?
no. It's the first
No?
time I hear that.
Okay, so if I put it on the whiteboard, bear with me. So, staycation. So it's like a holiday where you stay in the same country.
Ah,
Yeah, a staycation. So it's like from the word vacation.
yes,
Um,
I see. Mm-hmm.
um, vacation being the American word and holiday being the British word, but
Mm-hmm.
vacation, and you stay in the same country, you don't travel abroad. So this is a lot more popular now in the UK where people travel from their hometown to another area in the UK to have a holiday or a staycation with their families. So over the past year, I've managed to travel more locally and visit places I've never been to, which is quite nice.
Yeah, that's happened with a lot of people now with the pandemic. Yeah, discovering sweet small corners around. I don't know, in the same hometown. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's true.
We live near the capital city, near Prague, and
Mhm.
we tend to be there, yeah, all the time. And with the pandemic, with a really tough quarantine, that we even couldn't leave our hometown, so we were discovering a lot of places we had here.
Wow,
Yes, around 20 kilometers or something. Yeah. So you don't
that's
need to
nice.
travel a lot to find interesting things,
Yeah,
actually.
more more recently, I was able to visit France for a few weeks ago for a few days. Um, uh, and initially, I found the rules and the regulations quite difficult because you have to prepare everything in advance. There's so much you have to prepare. But then once I've done it, I feel like, well, actually, I could do that again. It wasn't so much of a
Yeah.
problem. But yeah,
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it's.
mm,
Mm.
yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, and you were asking me about the challenges I have found while learning English, and I would ask you something similar. Challenges while you were or have been teaching English. Okay, so what is the I don't know, I don't know to say the most challenging part of it, but challenges that you have faced while
Hmm.
teaching?
I suppose the challenges that I face if I were teaching face to face, the
Mm-hmm.
biggest challenge is understanding the students, not understanding what they're saying, but understanding how they're thinking, because they're from different countries and different cultures, and uh, knowing how to deal with
Mm-hmm.
people that come from a different culture, or knowing how to deal with unexpected situations that may occur. So for example, I had a student that I was teaching face to face once, um, and she arrived in the class and she burst into tears at the end because she didn't know anybody. I had to spend quite a bit of time with her at the end just to calm her down, and then it's okay, don't worry. I could understand how she felt because she came from a culture that's incredibly different to the UK, and she comes to the UK where things are very, you know, not as clear, not as organized as she might expect, and things are a bit more flexible. So I had to say, don't worry, you're doing fine. And it took a long time to deal with that aspect to teaching.
Mm-hmm. And how
Um,
old was she?
she was in her early 20s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, in terms of online now, because I've not been teaching face to face for nearly, well, over 18 months, nearly 2 years now. Um, Online, it's very difficult if you're teaching um, a group of students online, and you have the challenges of trying to develop that connection remotely. It's easier with one student like you and I, um, but with a group of students, you may have students who are quieter, and you have to try and get them in
Yeah.
and to
Switching
contribute.
off cameras.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So that's the challenges probably that I face, I guess, if I'm teaching face to face or online.
So I am curious about one thing. You put family there. How
Mm-hmm.
mm, how like polite, correct, socially correct is to ask
Mm-hmm.
about the family to a British person. So I can feel from you that you are an open person who really wants
Mm-hmm.
to share difference in cultures. You have traveled a lot, and you also might have had students from all over the world. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it is strange to have the family here, but
Mm-hmm.
how correct is how polite is it for a British person to be asked about his or her family?
I suppose it depends on how you ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's okay to ask someone about their family if you're getting to know them, like we are now. Um, uh, I could ask, could you kindly tell me a bit more about your family?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, if rather than saying, um, are you married, or
Yeah, that's
what do
what
your
I mean.
parents do?
Yeah,
It's
or
too
do you have
direct.
children? Yeah, that could be
Yeah.
really, I don't know. So yeah.
So you could say, oh, could you kindly tell me a bit more about your um, you could say direct or extended family.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And then a direct family, husband, wife, child, etc., or extended family, parents or uncles and aunts and that sort of thing. um, so it's not I think it's a okay, but it depends on how that person receives that information.
Yeah, yeah. I I know, I prefer not to ask. What I do with even with the students, if I start talking about my own family. So if I
Mm-hmm.
see they have a connection with that, so I say, "Oh, my girl say, or my daughter has birthday today,"
Mm-hmm.
or something like this. And when they start asking and seem to be interested in children or children's
Mm-hmm.
birthday or school, then they share that information all alone. They say, "Oh, I have also a daughter. She had also birthday yesterday," and so on.
Yeah.
But if I see that they don't react, so I just keep this is like a taboo topic, yeah, and I don't.
Yeah.
I am
I
afraid
mhm.
really of asking about family and.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you don't. Yeah, as long as you're comfortable and you don't want to, or you don't feel it's right to ask, then go with your instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We've
I also
we've
don't
got.
know if somebody's going to be offended because I am not asking about their family, but it still hasn't happened to me.
What's interesting is we got this, phrase "go with your instinct," but more naturally we say "go with your gut."
Hmm.
Go with your gut. So it's like go with
Okay.
your gut
Yeah.
is your stomach.
Yes. Yeah, the stomach is clever, smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, okay, right. Let's move on.
Hmm.
Now, in terms of feedback, no problems. Your spoken English is fine, and we got to know each other quite well. There's just those phrases which I've just put up on the whiteboard, which I can share with you later. Um, Now, let's move on to the tools. So, um, for me, we can either use the Preply classroom, which I find is all right, but I prefer Zoom. I find it a lot more flexible in terms of the whiteboard and that sort of thing. But Preply, they have, as you know, uh, there's a library of resources, flashcards, and screen sharing. But personally, for me, and I'll share with you a bit later um, what I use in terms of resources, because I prefer to use my own material rather than the material that's recommended, um, and more aligned for students in that way. So what I tend to use, as I mentioned, is Preply or Zoom or Skype. Um, and I also use Google Documents, and I'll share an activity that we're looking at today a bit later. I've also used Padlet as well before for students to share documents or links or resources. And in terms of communication, Preply, email,
Mhm.
etc. That's fine. Okay. Course focus and the placement test. In terms of your speaking, I would suggest it's maybe C1. Um, Obviously, with areas that you highlighted, maybe idiomatic expressions, more natural, more generic topics. So developing vocabulary more broadly rather than just on particular areas. I think that would be more suitable. You've already answered question 3 to me. So, what specific area of English do you envisage that you want to focus on? You mentioned idiomatic expressions. Is there any other skills or areas that you would like to improve upon?
Mm, I think everything is based on that topic, yeah, because I can communicate about anything and I can make myself mm, like everyone can understand what I'm saying, so I don't have a problem to be understood. But I would like, as I said, to improve my vocabulary, and that means so I don't need the best and most uh, technical words from encyclopedia, but words that you native speakers use more than what I find in books or this from
Mm-hmm.
lingua franca English. Yeah, so something that
Mm-hmm.
can sound more natural. So like mm, putting pushing my level to the next step, yeah, so that means
Mm-hmm.
being more natural and not trying to think too much about something, so that really these idiomatic expressions go naturally. Because
Mm-hmm.
I had the own experience. Some of my students, they want this, and some of the idiomatic expressions I know, but and they want to know them too. But it's not just knowing, but you have to practice them again and
Mm-hmm.
again, so they get really attached to your brain, and then you can use them
Yes.
when the opportunity comes. I think this
Sure.
is like something that could be interesting for me. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, I can talk about almost everything if the teacher, the student allows me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
can.
understand.
And I am also
Well.
very open to critic, to correction. Also, I like to improve. So if I make mistake, I also when I teach, I tell my students that I love mistakes. So because from
Mm-hmm.
mistakes I can set up the plan. Yeah, what I can do with them, what I can't do, and so on. And I love mistakes. So that doesn't mean that I want to speak with a lot of mistakes, but mistakes can be also used by you as a teacher as I know
Mm-hmm.
reference point. Yeah, where to work on more, less, and so on. So I'm not afraid of being corrected, and I won't be upset.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go through a demo lesson. So I've just prepared something about work, and I can have a look at some more idiomatic expressions to do with work, and we can develop that topic as well. But the topic today in this lesson is about a 4-day work week. So one thing that people have recognized or companies have recognized is that when their employees work from home, what they can do, which would normally take 5 days, can be done in 4. So it's a bit more flexible in that sense. Um, so uh, let's have a think about what you would say. What would you say are normal days and hours that people work in your home country and where you are now in Prague?
Yeah, in Latin America, specifically in Guatemala, people like office hours are from 8 to 4. So if you work in a bank, if you work for institution for the government, so you start at 8 and you get out from work at 4 o'clock, having a 45 minutes lunch break.
Hmm.
And this is
Okay.
between 12 and 1 or half past 11 until half past 1 p.m.
Okay.
So
All
this is
right.
like normal from Monday to Friday.
Monday to Friday. Okay. So
Yeah.
I've got a Google document here, which I'll share with you, and I'll get the link and put it in the chat so you've got access to it as well, based on the topic. In Guatemala, you said working from 8 till 4. Is that
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. With a 45-minute lunch break.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about in Prague now, where you're based? What do you
Here
think are the?
people, because of school, school starts at 8 o'clock. Many people start working at 9, because they the most part of the population takes children to school, and after that they are able to do whatever they want, and that means work. So normally they start at 9 and they finish at 5. So it's like this 8 hour period of time, like in Guatemala, but 1 hour ahead or later. Okay, from 9 to 5.
Mhm.
And lunch break, I am not sure if it's regulated, like you have just 45 minutes. But what I have experienced with people here working in an office, they go out for lunch to some canteen or place where they can have something like faster, like not fast food, but something. Okay, the restaurants are already, they have their menus for working days, so this is already ready, and when you go there then you can eat, you don't have to wait a lot. So it takes Czech people also half an hour maximum, this 45 minutes to eat it up, and then they come back. So I have the impression that they eat very fast. Yeah, so many people take really just half an hour lunch break, which was for me shocking. The first semester I was here, all the students eating in 15 minutes and they go back and continue working. Yeah, so we really in Guatemala are are taking that more relaxed. Yeah, this 45 minutes, and I think it's by law. Yeah, that you have the 45 minutes, so you really enjoy your time, even if you are not
Yes.
hungry. So you go for a walk and come back
Mm.
at 12:45.
Yeah. I think European law is for every 8 hours you work, you're entitled to 45 minutes
Yeah,
break
yeah.
or something like that. I
I,
think that's the
I
case.
really don't know how it is like by law, but yeah.
Hmm.
But of
Yeah.
course, in the Czech Republic, so in Guatemala, in the offices, really, they start at 8, and at 4, it's 4:00, is everything closed. Yeah, so these offices.
Hmm.
Here, yes, for example, for shops, that's true that if you go like 20 minutes before they close, they start like with the broom and the bread is not there and making faces like, why are you coming so late? But in the like the office, people still they work more, so I nobody closes his or her office at 5 o'clock. Yeah, so people being there for half an hour more, or 15 minutes more, or
Hmm.
perhaps next day. There's very flexible, so you can communicate. It's a good communicate if you have good communication and relationship with the boss, so you can agree that you come a little bit later the next day, and then you are going to be at the office more
Hmm.
longer time. And even before the pandemic, it was also the possibility to work at home. Now there are many families sharing this childcare. Yeah, that
Hmm.
one day the
Hmm.
father is with the children, one day the mother, and
Mm.
so there are many possibilities to share the time with the family, or this obligations, yeah, in the family to
Yeah.
take.
We would say in English, juggling between child care and work,
Yeah.
juggling between both. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, because of our time, I'm going to leave the conversation questions 2 to 4,
Okay.
and we'll move on. What I've got here, though, on the Google document, so feel free to have a look. But what I'd like you to do is to just, we've got an idiom, do the maths to follow suit. Try and match on the Google document,
Okay.
on the Google Drive, the um, the phrases on the right to the meanings on the left.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So, for example, we'll do the first one together on here. So let me just put it onto one page. Okay, so we've got here in small amounts or very little of something within a large area. And what word do you think would that be on the right?
Sparsely, perhaps.
Sparsely, yeah, okay. So yeah, sparsely done, yeah. So I'll give you a bit of time. Take your time and go through 2 to 8. And when you're done, I'll come back. I'll just switch off my camera and mute myself. And when you are done typing in your answers on the Google document, we'll review your answers. Okay.
Okay. So I'm here.
Okay. So you've done a few. I can see that we've got 1 and 2 not just done yet. Do you want to have a guess of 2 and 3?
I actually really don't know what brown and follow suit is. And the others, it's the first time I see the expression do the maths, but by the context, I understood that this is doing something that it's already done. Yeah, that you don't need to invent a new thing. I hope it's number 5. Do the same thing that,
Right.
yeah. Regardless and septic, exhaustion, I think I know. But this is the first time I see a word like prone and means, I don't know. So I put the question marks because I don't know if it's the ability to pay for something. I'm not sure, yeah, about this means of, no. And I couldn't find the suitable definition for that.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go through them, and hopefully it will develop your vocabulary just a little bit more.
Okay.
So we've already decided sparsely, is in small amounts within a large area.
Yeah.
To carefully think about something and to check the facts before taking action. This would actually be do the maths.
Ah.
Yeah. So it's like to calculate
Okay,
before you
understand.
do something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like you're considering everything before
Okay.
you decide to do it. Yeah. So yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, yes, of course. So if you ask me, for example, if I want to buy your car, you're
Yeah.
selling your car, then I could say I still have to do the maths, or how could
Yeah, of
I?
course. Yeah,
Okay.
that's perfect. Yeah, you could just say, yeah, I still have to do the maths and think or consider whether
Consider.
it's
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Okay, likely to be affected. So number 5 is not A
Okay.
in this case. So number 3, likely to be affected by something negative or do something wrong.
Perhaps a pronoun, but perhaps just guessing.
Yeah. So to be prone
To be
to.
prone. This is an adjective. Okay. To be
Yeah.
prone
Yeah.
to. Okay.
Okay, so it's an adjective. So yeah, to be prone to is when something or you're affected by something or you do the same mistake again and again. So you could say, I'm prone to making just small grammatical mistakes when I speak English, or I'm prone to um, breaking things. So I have a glass and it falls off. And, so it's something usually negative that affects you. For example, my son was prone to breaking glasses. Like a glass or something like that.
And can I criticize somebody by because of doing something wrong from my point of view, from my perspective? For example, I don't want to hire him because he's prone to, I don't know, being aggressive, or I don't know.
Aggressive, or he's prone to being late at work.
Okay,
Like
okay,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Something that is repeated. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Something that's repeated. Yeah, you got it now. Okay, number 4, exhaustion. Agree. To do the same thing that's just been done.
Then I don't know. Then this should be the follow suit, perhaps.
Yeah, to follow suit. Yeah, so usually children, they do one thing and their best friend wants to do the next thing, and they follow suit in that way.
This thing. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know that from my daughters.
And for example, children at school, when they follow suit, we have a particular name for them. So if you do something first and someone wants to try and copy you, we have a nice phrase in English. So bear with me. Where's my cursor gone? There it is. We call them a copycat. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So they always copy what you do or how you dress or how you speak. They're a copycat.
Okay. And how do you separate these idiomatic expressions? For example, don't follow me suit, or if I don't want to be copied, or can I use that in this form?
It's normally well, to follow suit is always just describing the situation when people copy you, but you can't necessarily say don't follow suit.
Okay.
Follow. You could just say, "I'll stop copying me."
You're
always copying. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then without paying attention to something, even if this causes difficulties, regardless. Yep. The ability to pay for something or not. The means. So again.
Okay. Yeah. Now I understand. Now that you're. Yeah. I was not sure, but now. Okay. Yeah. I don't have the means to.
Yeah, I don't have the means to.
And does it have to be connected just with pain, or can I have the means to, I don't know, understand something, or like ability, or it's just connected to payment?
It's normally associated with payment, or not really ability. So I want to go on holiday, but I don't have the means to at the moment.
I
can't afford it. Yeah.
Okay, now it is clear.
Okay, and then a person who's not convinced or supported by others, a skeptic. Yeah. Okay, right. So that's what we've done so far. There are a couple of other exercises that you could do. Using some of the words and phrases in your own time, and you can review the words and phrases and complete them for next time. So we won't go through that activity together, but feel free to complete that. What I did have, though, Sylvia, was I had some discussion questions based on some of the phrases. But again, we don't have much time for that.
It's okay.
But moving on very quickly because of our limited time. What did you think of that particular demo lesson?
I enjoyed that, and I admire your capacity, your ability to have prepared suitable set of exercises for my level. Okay, that's for my level, for the students' level. You didn't know me. before. And
exactly.
yeah, so I was surprised, like it was magic. Yeah, you have everything prepared, like you knew me before. So that's I admire that, and I feel glad, and um, yes, it was pleasant, yeah, to have such a lesson, like personalized, even if it was with any further or original knowledge from about myself. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. We'll move on very quickly. So, I've got a couple of things that you could look at, perhaps as a sort of what would be good is if you could write a summary of what you expect courses to include. How often you hope to have lessons. If you can produce something in writing, that would be great, and then we can have a
Okay.
look at that in our next lesson. And then it will help us choose or define a way for your English study going forward. Okay. Um, so, if you wish as well, there is the Google Drive document on the 4-day work week that you could complete, and we can review the answers together. There's also a listening included. So, if you go to the main Google Drive, um, there's a listening which I can share with you related to the worksheets that we looked at. So you can complete all the listening tasks and everything
Okay.
else like that. Yeah. Right. So, any questions? We're towards the end now.
They were answered during the trial, so I all the questions are going to come while I don't know, I want to write that, to develop more the ideas what I want to achieve for the further lessons with you, and no, everything is clear. I don't have any concrete questions so far.
Okay, great. Well, I look forward to hearing from you soon. If you do have any questions that come up, you may finish and go, "Oh, I didn't ask that question." Feel free to send me a message on Preply. I'll be happy to help. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a
All
lot.
right.
It was a pleasure, and
Okay.
thank you very much for the trial. I enjoyed that.
All right. Again, a huge thanks to Sylvia for supporting this video. Without her, this video would not have been possible. If you have any suggestions on any improvements I could make with my trial class, please let me know in the comments, because I'll be happy to consider any suggestions any other viewers have. In the meantime, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video, and if it's not too much trouble, please hit the like button. That would be great. I hope to see you in a future video, and take care, stay safe, and happy teaching. Bye bye.